every year, at some point, he leaves me. He says, I think this is over. I can't go on in this relationship. And then there's radio silence for a week. And he comes back.
If you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I value communication. And that for me, that is the foundation to a loving, fulfilling, respectful relationship. And this conversation that's coming up is another free love advice, because this month is Free Love Advice September. And after revisiting this episode, I actually find this conversation quite disturbing. Because what this woman is talking about goes against everything that I believe in. And at the same time, she claims that her relationship is going fine and that it's working for her. And the important takeaway here is that relationships can look a lot of different ways. And there are no rules as to what makes a relationship healthy. And just because this isn't how I would do it, doesn't mean that it's not also okay. So today we're talking about talking to your partner, which is incredibly valuable. And sometimes really hard to do, especially if your partner has trauma around communicating or over communicating or processing. And how do you meet your partner halfway? And how do you dare to have conversations that are kind of hard to have? My name is Sean Galanos, and this is The Love Drive. Do you want to give me love advice, or do you want me to give you love advice?
I thought you were the specialist and I was the...
Okay, let's go with that.
Okay. Well, we can trade advice.
Sure. I'll start.
Okay.
How can I help?
I don't know. What's your greatest love advice for long-lasting, never-dying love?
Oh, is this a situation that you find yourself in right now?
No.
Oh, because I don't have canned advice.
You don't?
No, I only do specific custom advice.
Okay.
To your specific need. Although if I had to say that, if I had to answer your question, it would be talk to your partner.
Yes.
Okay, so now we got that out of the way.
Okay.
How can I help you specifically right now in this moment?
But it's actually, I sat down, but it's actually going well in my relationship. But we've had ups and downs in the last 5 years. So.
Oh, because it's an actual relationship?
Yes. But every year, at some point, he leaves me.
Like?
He says, I think this is over. I can't go on in this relationship. And then there's radio silence for a week. And he comes back. We never talk about it, and it's going great. It happened again in June, and we've had the best summer, and this is the 5th year together. I don't know. So what do you think?
Wow. I'm sorry that happens to you.
Yeah. Now I'm better at getting ready to be back alone, and I've even bought a book. It's called The Artist's Way. One of my friends said, It's a very popular book. So I started the first week, but then he came back, so.
Motherfucker. It's interesting that you say that you don't have any problems in your relationship, and then right after you tell me that every year your partner says, I can't do this anymore, walks out of your life, and then comes back after a week.
But right now is going great.
Sure. But to me, And I'm not an expert, but that sounds a little problematic. I would have a really hard time with that.
But I think he needs to see, I don't know. So yeah, maybe we need to talk it through. Maybe he needs, yeah, we're both in our 50s, early 50s. We both have teenage kids, complicated divorces. We've come to each other with luggage. Okay. So there's a point, I guess, at which he says, I can't take it anymore. And he's kind of testing. He's like my teenage kids. He's testing me. Is she still going to be there if I walk out on her? And I've just said, okay, you're not happy in the relationship. It hurts me. It saddens me, but I don't want to make you unhappy. I don't want to be the cause of your unhappiness. So just go and...
Well, you're not, first of all.
And then but I told him very frankly, it's not perfect, but I think we're better together than not together. I'm happier with you than without you. And
does he
came back after a week.
Does he just need a vacation?
I think so.
Why doesn't he just take a fucking vacation where you don't talk for a week and he does whatever the hell he wants?
Yeah.
I feel like that would be, I don't know, less painful.
Because it is destructive on my side, because then I started announcing to people, well, this is it. I think this time is for good. And then I have to explain to people again, well, he's back. Everyone's like,
which is okay. Very annoying.
Well, yeah.
I mean, for you, it's.
But I think
I think what you said about the fact that he's testing you, that sounds reasonable. I mean, it's not reasonable that he would test you, but that sounds like what he's doing for some weird reason. He feels the need to test you rather than probably tell you that he's having a hard time, that he's struggling right now in this relationship because, newsflash, all relationships are challenging. But they are, by definition, hard.
You're totally right. I think he can't talk. So we have huge fights. We can go 6 months without a fight. And then we have this explosion of craziness, totally irrational, screaming fit, leave you on the side of the freeway. And then I get back in the car after an hour wondering, and then we never talk about it. Then it just, so we don't talk. So I think he avoids issues. So getting out of the relationship for a week, then he's signaling that something needs to be worked on, and he comes back, but we never talk about it. And we're having a good time. But I think I've learned to deal with that. I think men don't talk much. Some men.
Yeah.
So
some men talk a lot. You're talking to one right now.
Yep.
Do you talk?
I think it stresses him out if I start saying, but after this one breakup, I just decided I'm not going to let resentment build and have things just not be said. So the other day I just said, well, for the last week, every time I call you, I feel I'm bothering you. So it kind of hurts me. I says, oh, my apology. I'll be careful. So this kind of thing we've never done before. I would just say, shit, I hate the way I feel I'm bothering him. But he's the more attentionate partner in the couple. He's more caring. He touches. And I'm more reserved.
So physically, you mean?
Yeah.
Because certainly not emotionally.
Yeah, no, but I can be very busy with my crazy life with my kids and.
So okay, here's a question for you: What does you and him becoming a little bit more communicative look like?
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, we spent a lot of time like in the car. We do road trips. We did all of Vermont all summer, and we would have a lot of time to just say, okay, what if we did things this way? But he doesn't like it.
He doesn't like what?
To have this kind of talk.
Like a talk about the relationship.
Yeah, we don't talk about the relationship.
Why not? What does he not like about it?
I don't know. I think he's got I think he got traumatized in his long-term relationship. The wife he divorced from, I think he was totally crushed as a man. And I don't know. Or he's learned, maybe in his family they didn't talk. They were all boys. I don't know. But yeah, it's not something he does. And he will not go to therapy. So he will not talk to another person, a neutral person. But otherwise, he's super nice. We have a great time. So I just accept that nothing is perfect.
Sure. I mean, he doesn't beat you, so.
Yeah, usually not.
No, I'm not. There is one small bruise, but I'm not sure if it's from getting beaten. It sounds sort of like you know what's happening.
Yeah, but
it's not perfect. It could probably be better. At some point, you might get really sick of this pattern.
It's true.
You're almost there.
But I've also figured that dating at 50, starting this whole thing again it's exhausting. And I'd rather be in an imperfect relationship where we actually we bring to each other so much. We do long distance biking. We there's so much stuff we do together that is fun that I would miss if we weren't together. And then there's
every now and then
the sex is great.
The sex is great.
Sex is great, and I think it's probably the best sex partner I've had in my life. So
once a year he blows
he's
his top.
imperfect, but yes. So yeah, you put up with stuff.
I mean, we're talking about compromise.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's as long as it's not devastating, it sounds like you're willing to deal with it.
Yep.
And everything changes. So there might come a time where this doesn't work for you anymore.
Exactly.
And then you can set a boundary with a consequence. And then you can enforce that consequence.
But I'm so terrified to be alone.
Right.
Some people are happy
Join
alone.
the club,
yes.
by the way.
So I will do the compromise. I think I will always accept. I mean, if he was disrespectful and violent, yes, I would not accept. But this kind of weirdness once in a while, where he's really normal most of the time, and then once in a while he just flips.
He freaks out.
Yeah.
He gets really scared.
Yeah.
And he leaves, and maybe he's testing you. He probably doesn't know that he is.
And he recharges his battery, and then he's good to go for another year. So,
how about this? How about you suggest that instead of doing that thing, which actually that means that you guys would eventually talk about it a little bit, like acknowledge the fact that every year he blows up and leaves, that perhaps this time instead he could just leave for a week or two. No obligation to contact you. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, go wherever he wants, and then come back after.
But that's basically what he does. He doesn't necessarily blow up. This time I arrived from Paris. I landed that night. I was halfway in my jet lag, and he came. He's like, I can't take it anymore. I'm leaving you. Bye. And I'm like, okay, I'm tired. I need to sleep. And then he disappeared for a week. Nothing. No.
Would it be better if he had just said, I'm leaving, I'm taking a week for myself?
But he probably thought
he was leaving you.
Yeah. And then he told me, he said, I thought through what she said that it's not perfect, but we're actually better together than alone. And he came back.
Well, as long as you're not okay being alone, then you're going to compromise.
But there's no perfect relationship.
No one says there is.
I thought I had met I still think my husband, the father of my kids, was my what do you call soulmate, intellectually, physically, everything. And then we ended up having this really ugly divorce, really horrible thing with money, with the kids, and because we lost track of who we were. I don't know, something got lost. So I think my current boyfriend may not be my soulmate. There's a lot of things where. I'm a university researcher. He's a tech guy. We don't
never work.
But that's the thing. In the end, it doesn't matter. I don't have philosophical discussions with my spouse anyway, so we're okay. It's good.
I'm so glad I was able to help.
Yes. No, but it's true. You did.
Wait, what are you walking away with here today?
That we need to talk more, and maybe I should tell him that he has this permission when he needs to retire in his man cave for a week, take a deep breath, miss me a bit, and then come back. And that I will understand. After 5 times.
You're used to it by now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, lovebirds. Thank you for spending this time with me this week. This concludes Free Love Advice September, and we're going to be back next week with a guest interview, a very special guest. So special that I don't know who it is yet, but stay tuned and find out. And if you want my book list, or you want to find out about the group coaching program that I'm working on called Desires, Needs, and Boundaries, where we figure out in a group setting what your desires are, what your needs are. What are the differences between those two? How do you set boundaries? What's the difference between a boundary and an ultimatum? And how to communicate all of this in a respectful, loving way. Then sign up for the newsletter, thelovedrive.com/newsletter. And you'll be the first to know when the program is ready. It's going to be for 12 people, and there's going to be a waiting list. So the easiest way to find out about this program is to join the newsletter. thelovedrive.com/newsletter. Have a beautiful week.